everyone, and welcome to our May So Fun Club. And this month we have a new vendor, and I'm so excited that I'll be able to introduce Slightly Biased Quilts in just a little bit. But until then, let's talk about business. So we are going to have, as usual, show and tell at the end of the video, and we always have a drawing. And this month we have this wonderful Home Sweet Home tin mug by Lori Holt, and we also have an embroidery CD software from Hope Yoder. So we've got two items that you potentially can win this month. In order to win, all you need to do is like, comment, and share on the video. And don't forget, I love to see the quilts that you've made. So go ahead and upload your samples of quilts, embroidery, if you've made an apron, a bag, whatever it is, we love to see it. Our creativity in the sewing world with our Moores customers is pretty vast. So let's share. So once again, like, comment, and share. Moores-sew.com is our website where you can get any and all of your sewing needs. So keep tuned for the end of the video where you'll see my show and tell this month and many others as well. So without any further ado, let's bring in Jennifer. So Jennifer, welcome to our So Fun Club. It is so good to see you face to face. We met in Houston last year, and I'm so glad that we get to share you with all of our customers here at Moores.
Oh, I'm so excited too.
Well, very good. So I always start off all of these with a quick question, and I don't know the answer to this, but how did you get started with Slightly Biased Quilts?
That's a fun question. During the pandemic, when we were all in lockdown, I started thinking, because I had a quilt that I made that a lot of friends said that should be a pattern. And so I thought, well, why don't I just turn it into a pattern and see what happens? I had already been quilting for about 10 years at that point. And so I wrote up the pattern and got it kicked off. And now it's turned into this great, fun business where I make quilt patterns and I get to see everyone make them, and just the creativity of everyone. It's always inspiring to me.
Well, that's wonderful. So can I ask, what was the first quilt?
I can. Can I show it to you?
Absolutely.
All right. So the first quilt was actually this one. Let's see. So this one is called Changing Leaves.
Oh, so pretty. Yes.
And I had started originally with, I had always wanted to make a maple leaf quilt. And so I started making some, 12-inch maple leaves. And then I thought, well, what if I make some tiny ones? That could be really fun. So I made some tiny ones. And then I said, well, what if I make a really big one too?
Oh, wow. Look.
And I left some negative space in as well to give it some visual interest. All of these leaves were made from and I'll zoom in a little bit. I really enjoy backgrounds that aren't plain white. You can see I use this is how old this quilt is. I use pearl bracelets by Lizzie House from back in the day for my background, just to give it a little something, instead of being just plain white.
Well, it is so cool. And that's so nice to have the reference to where it all started.
Yeah, I actually made this one at a quilt retreat, and I didn't have enough fabric for the big leaf, and so I had to go back to the quilt shop to get more fabric to finish it up. But yeah, everyone was very just interested in me turning it into an actual pattern. So this one is where it actually all started back in 2020.
Wow. What a great throwback quilt.
Yeah.
With so many memories. It started it all. Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right. So next up, I want to show you sort of where my logo and namesake comes from. So this one is called Biased. And I turned it into a rainbow, of course. You'll find as we go through these quilts that I really love bright colors. I'm a big fan of lots of color and not being quiet in quilts.
I'm
And
the
so
same way.
this one I made even before the leaf one. I made it back in like 2013, a very long time ago, and I decided to turn it into a pattern because it is a strip quilt. So if you're a very experienced quilter, you know how to make these already. But if you're a beginner, you need a little help. And so this pattern helps you do that and line up all of the white strips in the center. And a little fun story. So I, before I started my quilt pattern shop, I a long time ago made handmade bias tape in an Etsy shop, and I called it Slightly Biased. And so when I started designing quilt patterns, I decided, well, why not just use the name again? And I called it Slightly Biased Quilts. So that's where the name comes from. And then this quilt is where my logo comes from.
Oh, very nice. It's so pretty. I love the colors as well and how they all morph together there.
And this one also looks very good in single colors. I have another one that I did that was all blues, and it comes in all different sizes, baby all the way up through queen. But even single color looks really great, or just scrappy all over colors. So this is a relatively new pattern of mine, and it is called Bejeweled. For any
Wow.
Taylor Swift fans, yes, I named it after one of her songs. Because I thought it looked a lot like jewels in the center, something shiny.
Yes.
And so this one is nice and beginner friendly. It's full of quarter square triangles, so a skill builder, and then lots of squares for the background. And there are really two different ways you can do this pattern. In this version, I made the background scrappy, full of colors, and the jewels are one single solid color. But you can also invert it and make the background one solid color and then make your jewels be the scrappy colors. So a few different options to make this one just a little bit more modern based on your fabric choices.
And I love quilts that you can, go two different routes. Like when you buy a pattern, it's always nice to have the options where you can use that pattern over and over, but your quilts are going to look completely different.
Yeah, I find that to be really fun. Seeing customers make different versions and testers and the creativity everyone has in their color choices. Sometimes it's something I would never think of, and it's just absolutely amazing to see. All right, so next up, we're going to show Butterfly Blooms, which is a brand new pattern. Just came out for QuiltCon a couple of weeks ago. And so
Look at
this
those
one
bees, so cute.
features flowers in two different sizes, and then butterflies and bees. So this one is also pretty beginner friendly. It's relatively easy to piece. You got the four different kinds of blocks, and then you put it together with some negative space to make it look like a nice pretty garden with bees floating around.
Can you hold it up so we can see the really big flower on the bottom? There we go. Yeah.
Ooh,
Very
there we
nice.
go.
So that's great. This is her newest pattern, everyone. So hasn't been out there long.
Yep, brand new. It's called Butterfly Blooms if you're looking for it. All right, so next up, we're gonna we're gonna go from the spring to the fall with this one. This is one of my favorite patterns that I've ever done. It is called Bone Digger. And so this one is great because it is charm pack friendly. You need a couple of bigger pieces for the half square triangles, and there's a couple of quarter square triangles as well, but again, very beginner friendly. This one is so
And
fun.
another one of your quilts where you can dig into your scraps of Halloween and really make it pop. I mean, it's just really unique. I love it.
Yeah, and some fabric companies are even coming out with some prints that glow in the dark. This one was Tiny Frights from last year's Halloween line, and I think the ones with lightning bolts actually glow in the dark, which is very fun. Or you could use a
Oh,
glow in the
that's
dark
it.
for the skull as well.
Yeah, then you can quilt it with the glow in the dark threads and it can be really
That would be
unique.
fun. You can see if I zoom in, we've got spider webs for the quilting on this one.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's very, very fun. But with this one, once I got it up on my design wall back there, I was literally jumping up and down because it was just so fun to put together. All right, next up, this is a really fun quilt pattern. Probably one of my favorites. It's called Vela, and it's got a bunch of interlocking stars. So when I was designing this one, I wanted to design an interlocking star pattern, but I wanted it to be a little bit unique, and I wanted lots of different sizes of things. You'll see that that is pretty common for my quilt patterns. And so this one, it comes together a bit like a puzzle at the end because you have all these different sizes of stars and background prints. And so if you like puzzles, you will love this pattern. Again, I was really happy with how much fun it was to put together.
And it's so striking with your colors and the background and all those stars.
Yeah. And these stars are wonky. Let's see if I zoom in, you might be able to see. They're not exactly perfect, which is by design. So you can just slap fabric on and sew it. And if it's not straight, that's great. That's the whole point. And for that one, I also have a mini quilt pattern. So this is the Vela Mini, and it's interlocking stars, again, nice and wonky. And they go in a circle. So it's a cute little 17-inch mini pattern that's quick and easy to put together.
Which are always nice. You know, you can always take that mini pattern and you can make several of them and make a larger quilt out of it. I love minis.
Yep. Yeah, and they're great for using up scraps or just when you want something just quick, a satisfying finish. These are really good for that.
So cute.
This quilt pattern is called Luster, and it's full of lots and lots of stars. I made mine in a rainbow pattern. The stars are made with half square triangles, so there's no flying geese in this one. And one really fun thing about these blocks is that with each block, you get a secondary pattern of these shoe fly blocks in between each of them.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it was two different blocks, but you're absolutely right. With the one block will make the second block when you put it together. So creative.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, with the sashing and then the corners, it ends up making that shoe fly. And so this is another great skill builder. It's great for practicing your half square triangles. And it's, of course, always fun in a lovely rainbow pattern.
Yes.
All right, next up, this one I designed with my daughter, actually. She wanted to help me design a quilt pattern. And so we came up with this, which is called Glam. This one does include flying geese and lots of half square triangles, stars and stars and more stars. I just can't get enough of star quilts. This one uses 5 different colors, and as usual, I used a background print that is got a little bit of color, a little bit of texture, just to give it a little something.
Well, and I love the play, the light and the dark, where you have the yellow stars and the blue stars, and they really play well together to make that intricate design.
Yeah, this one is really fun. I enjoy it. And it comes in lots of different sizes in the pattern as well. All right, next up is good for Valentine's, which we just passed. This one is called Cordate. And again, I made a rainbow because I can't help myself. But this one I made entirely from my scrap bin. So it's very, very scrap friendly. You do need some big pieces for those big pink hearts in the middle, but all the smaller ones are very easy to pull out from your scrap bin.
Wouldn't that be great as a wedding gift? You know, put the bride and the groom's name in the big hearts as well.
Oh, that would be lovely.
So many things you can do with that.
Oh, yeah. And for this one, I did a different kind of heart construction, which you can see here. Instead of splitting the heart down the middle, it's a rectangle and then another rectangle over here. So if you've got large scale prints, this one would maintain a little bit more of it in the heart.
Which is so nice because most people, when I go to use my large prints, which I absolutely love, it's always, a struggle to find a pattern that you can use where it doesn't chop them up to where you're losing what you fell in love with. So I appreciate the fact that you have regained the integrity of some large prints and you have a pattern to use with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun to collect those prints, but then when you use them, it can be hard because so many patterns cut it up into small pieces.
Yeah.
So I did want to try to maintain that for this one.
Well, it looks great.
Thank you. Oh, and that one comes in a mini as well.
Oh, and look at that mini.
So 4 hearts constructed in the same way. You've got a rectangle and another rectangle, so it's not split in half. But very scrap friendly. And again, like you said before, you could make as many of these little ones as you want and put it into a big quilt if you wanted to.
Oh, and it's a perfect tabletop or wall hanging. You could do so many things with it.
All right, now this one is very fun. It can be a little polarizing depending on if you like half square triangles or not, but I love them for myself. So this one is called Wavelets.
That is just striking. Yeah.
It's got lots of half square triangles. So if your goal is to become good at half square triangles and to dislike them less, this is a good one to do it on. There are lots of great trimmers for half square triangles that make it a lot easier and less, we'll say, annoying to trim down. I always do, upsize and trim down because that's how I can get perfect points all matching.
Yeah.
And for me, I really enjoy half square triangles. I like you're just methodically trimming down. You can watch TV while you're doing it or listen to an audiobook. So this will be really great if you want to practice and hone in your half square triangle skills.
And the name of this one was again?
This one's Wavelets.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love the red, the little pop of the reds in the corners. Very nice.
All right, this next one is a block of the month pattern. I wanted to make a pattern. Well, I already made a pattern with houses in it, but this one I decided, well, why don't I put blocks on a house and turn it into like a giant barn quilts.
Oh, and barn quilts are all the rage.
So this one is called Cider Mill. It's got a bunch of, let me hold it up a little higher, skill builder blocks at the bottom, half square triangles, quarter square triangles, square and square. Then it's got a nice big barn quilt block at the top, and the whole thing is shaped into a barn with sky and grass.
It is so clever, and it's so important for people that are just starting out with quilting. This is the perfect quilt to learn different techniques and have the variety of a sampler, but it all is contained in the barn.
Yep, exactly. That was my goal. I really try hard to make sure my patterns are good for beginners, because we've all had the quilt pattern where you open it up and you start it and then you get so frustrated you just throw it to the side and it sits in your work in progress pile for years, right? That's what I try not to be. So all of my patterns are focused on beginners and very easy to put together.
Well, it is just stunning. I love that quilt.
So that one was Cider Mill. All right, next up, this is one of my most popular patterns. It is called Arboreal, which means tree-like.
Oh, I love those trees.
Full of trees. So these.
And once again, the multiple sizes that I absolutely am drawn to with your quilts.
Oh, thank you. And you can see, if you look at the big one right below my face, these are also a little wonky on purpose. So less points to match, faster sewing. You get to just slap it on and sew it. And if it ends up being crooked, well, so are real trees. And so that's perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
And these trees.
This could easily be turned into a Christmas tree with adding, holiday fabrics in there.
Yep. And I've seen some people have made fall ones where the trees are oranges and reds and yellows, and that's really pretty too. And these trees are not applique, and there's no special ruler. It's just a special method of cutting and sewing it together, just regular old machine piecing.
So much fun, Jennifer.
And to go along with that one, because I mean, we all need more holiday stuff, I created a table runner pattern. So this one is the runner.
Oh.
Again, same kind of construction. The trees are a little wonky, quick and easy to sew. And if you don't have a long table, you have a square table. We've got a square one as well with a star in the middle.
Oh, look at that.
So
very nice.
This star is wonky just like my other stars in Vela, and then trees all around for symmetry.
Symmetry.
Exactly. And so when I designed Arboreal and Vela, I've got trees and I've got stars. And I said, well, I've got trees and I've got stars. Why don't I put them together? And so I made a pattern last year called Starlet Night, which combines the stars and the trees.
Oh, very nice.
So you can use different colors. I had someone use white on the background for the trees to show snow, and use like a dark, almost black blue for the star background. And I think she used pink in the middle strip, which was very fun. I liked that choice. But again,
well, that's a great thing about quilting that I love. You know, your fabrics that you pick to make your quilt can really change the whole feel and mood of a quilt.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most fun parts.
Yes.
All right, and then my last one that I've got, this one is very beginner friendly. It is called Centrum. And when I was designing this one, let me show the whole X. I wanted to do X's into a heart, but someone had already done that. And so I said, well, why not make an X of X's? And so this one is layer cake friendly, which is very fun because we all have layer cake sitting around that we don't know what to do with. This one is a great one to do. You can use a background with a little something in it like this one, or white, or a totally different color to make your layer cake components stand out.
Well, I love that. And, you know, with layer cake, so many people buy them because we fall in love with the fabrics. And the great thing is they'll all work together. And this is another one where you could use some larger scale prints on it as well, and you're not going to lose the integrity of the fabric and what you fell in love with.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, very good. And I love how you use, because I'm the same way. I very rarely use solid prints, even for backgrounds. There's always some sort of design element in the fabrics that I choose. So we're connected that way, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'm always telling people, use a non-solid for your background because they are just a little sprinkling of something I think really makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I so appreciate you taking time out and sharing your passion, your company, and all of your quilts with us. I know our customers are going to fall in love with them. And thank you once again from all of us here at Moore's.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And we look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care, Jennifer.
Bye.
Okay, so now I get to share my show and tell for this month. So this quilt I just recently finished. It's using super big clamshell pieces. So I put them in a random order, and I used some of my favorite fabrics that I bought. Recently, I've decided I need to use some of the fabrics that I have and not hoard them quite as much. So you can see the clamshell goes in different directions to form a different shape. And all of these fabrics are from England. It's one of the only English fabric lines that we have. but I just love them. They all coordinate. It's very fall-esque looking. And then for the quilting on this one, I opted to do some straight line quilting as well as free motion. It's one of my favorite things to do on my domestic machine. So I have just a random feather design in some of the waves, and then I also have these straight lines. And I think they play very well together. So I'll hold it up. It was a lot of fun to do. It took me a little bit to design and play, but the overall effect on the back, since it's purple, purple's one of my favorite colors, I just used a purple plaid. And that's it. That's my show and tell. Now I cannot wait to see what you're going to share this month. So don't forget, moors-sew.com, upload your samples and pictures of what you've made, and you could be in the running for once again to win our prize this month. So I want to thank you once again for taking time out of your busy day to visit with us here at Moors. Don't forget to visit our website, moors-sew.com, for any and all of your sewing needs. In addition, you can also go to the website and you can see classes that are available at all of our locations. There's so much information right there on our website for you to peruse. You can see sales, lots of things at moors-sew.com. I look forward to seeing you next month on Sew Fun Club. And until then, happy stitching!